I've tested myself twice in the last 3 days. I don't have COVID, but it was just like, oh man, it was night and day. I had such a great time on Friday, and it was my own fault because even on Sunday, I was umming and ahhing about going back in. It's like I had a really good night on Friday, and this is where I trust myself implicitly. Even when I was a younger man in my 20s, I had a very good off switch. Like when all my friends, including you, were like, yeah, fuck it. Why don't we go another day? It's day 2, day 3. Why not? I was always very good at going, you know what? We've had some fun. I think it's time for me to retire. I'm just going to raise the bat. I know it's maybe not the coolest thing to do, but I'm going to retire. And I had that same feeling where I was like, I've had a great first day, memories for a lifetime. I can leave it there, but I just got too ahead of myself. And then it was just everything conspired to make it a terrible night.
I mean, it does sound like it was one of those things where, like, firstly, maybe day 3 just wasn't the right day for Iona. That was the mistake in the first place.
Yeah.
I feel like actually it even goes back to the mistake you've made with the car park. I feel like this whole day got off to the wrong start because, like, you'd understand if you parked in the wrong spot and went to the wrong gate if you hadn't been there 2 days earlier. But you'd literally been to that place 2 days earlier. You probably should have known where to park to get in the front door, right? Like the whole day was cursed from the minute you arrived is what I'm thinking.
I can't remember. I think maybe I drove in day 1 and Jem drove in day 2.
Okay.
So it wasn't exactly that. But yes, you think we could have figured it out. But it's very, like, once you're in there, it's just, in that car park area, it's not very well posted. Like at one stage we ended up driving into like the staff area until they turned us around. we were like the worst, most cliched kind of tourists. You'd think we'd never been, to Blues Fest before, but it was. Look, on the balance of things, it was good, but it was just that one day. And I think if I had not trudged around, if I had just sat in one spot, it would have been fine because I would have avoided all those conflicts. I would have avoided, like, seeing that guy try to punch Sam. I would have avoided the anti-vax conversation. Like I should have just sat in the VIP tent and just, although I could have done that at home, which is initially what my instincts were telling me.
Well, okay, so there's a couple of things. Like, firstly, the lesson for Sam is don't help other people. Clearly just let people trip over the cables. Not your business, mate. Not your business, not your occupational health and safety. Like Sam's done too many official gigs at proper companies where he's like, this is clearly an occupational health and safety risk. I'm going to have to step in here, be a little safety monitor for this area that I'm now standing in and it's my responsibility. Whereas like the rest of us are like, oh, well, fuck it, cords. People can work it out. I'll trip over. That's the end of it. Let's move on. The fact that you were seeing some funk band. Did you say it was in the middle of a funk band? Yeah.
Fat Freddy's Foot?
Oh, Fat Freddy's Drop.
Fat Freddy's Drop, I believe.
Yes,
was the band on at the time.
Do you remember the Dead Kennedys?
Yes.
They had a song.
Biafra.
Yeah, and a big song called Too Drunk to Fuck. Do you remember that song?
Yeah, vaguely, yeah.
Do you reckon there's ever been a funk band? Podcast Mike, could you please look this up? Like, has there ever been a funk band
Drunk to Funk
called Too Drunk to Funk? Because if there hasn't been, that is a good name for a funk band, I think. So I need to know whether there is. I imagine out there in the world, there's got to be a funk band called Too Drunk to Funk.
Well, I know that Five had a song called Slam Dunk the Fun.
Oh, my God. The 95th Five reference. I listened to you talk to Claire Tonti as well on TOFOP, and I'm like, Charlie is like, will not stop talking about Five. Like, he's actually, you are deep into Five in a way that I don't think anybody else in the world is into Five at the moment.
Oh, absolutely. But it's done. Like I even said that, like it was one of those things where you get like a taste for a certain chocolate bar or a certain snack or whatever, and you just eat it until you fucking hate it. I'm done. With Five. I mean, thank you to everyone, by the way, who sent me Five's dates because they are touring Australia.
Oh, really?
At the end of at the end of the year. Yeah,
I mean, should we go and see Five when they tour Australia? Like, is there a chance that we should have a little TOFOP team trip and we should all go and see Five when they tour Australia?
I mean, that could be an amazing bonus episode if we went and saw Five. I mean, I reckon we could get in to speak to them. I don't think that would be particularly hard.
Oh, yeah. They'd be like, yeah, there's this podcast that's really, like, there's a bit of heat around it, to be honest, mate. Like, the people are really, we're getting a lot of Google alerts. Like, people in Australia are talking about Five nonstop.
Well, in a weird case of synchronicity, the Guardian wrote an article about 5 this very week, which people have been sending me links to, and then apropos of nothing, it's just one of those kind of like column pieces where it's like, do you remember the band 5? And this is what they're doing now, and it's like, that's weird. I was the first guy to talk about
clearly
5
the Guardian are listening into TOFOP and getting all their ideas for their articles.
Well, you know what the sad part about that Guardian article was? Is reading it, I'm like, this is not telling me anything I don't know. Yet, like, I've heard all these anecdotes and stories before because my research has made me. I mean, if you're an expert in 5, what does that make you? Like a 5ologist, a 5 spurt?
Yeah, you're a 5 spurt. Yeah, that's what I prefer. I want you to go on hard quiz. I want you to go on Tom Gleason's hard quiz and do 5 as your specialist subject.
I don't know how I'd go. I reckon I'd do all right. I think I would. I think I'd do all right. I'd have to sort of research a bit more about their later career because I know they have released a new album, which I have not listened to. But yeah, it's getting to the point now. I've learnt all Jay's raps. So I think that's where I'm done. I feel like now that I've got Jay's raps memorized, there's no need for me to dig any further into 5. The only way I'd come back is if Jay and Abs were to return to 5. Then yes, I would
for the 5 reunion tour, that'd get you back.
I'd be back on board.
Okay.
I mean, although having said that, they are playing like I think it's like the Rudy Hill RSL. And something about that is like, fuck, maybe, you know what? Maybe we should go. If it's easy for us to go, would you come with me?
Yeah, I'll come with you. Yeah, I don't think you should go by yourself. I don't think that's a good look.
Yeah, well, look, let's stay tuned. I had a brief look at the dates, and it seemed to be, I think it was like 4 shows, and it was like RSLs in Sydney and Melbourne. I didn't see anything up in Queensland or definitely this area, but I mean, how much would it cost to get 5 to come play at our house? Like, surely we could probably, like, if we Patreon leveled that, I mean, that's something we could try and do. If we got a private gig with 5, like you've got space at your place. We set up a little stage, we run a competition, like on Patreon, you sign up to this amount. I mean, how much could it cost to get 5 to play? Like, don't have to do their full set, just like all the hits.
And I feel like I think the easiest bit of this negotiation is getting it by 5. I think the hardest bit of this negotiation is getting it by Amy. So am I talking to her or are you talking to her about the fact that we're going to have a concert by 5 in our backyard?
Podcast Mark, I've got a new job for you. Win Amy over. Can you get 5 playing at Will's place? Okay, look, we don't have to do it at your house. I mean, my place, and they could probably do it. Just depends on how many people, like off the top of your head, how much do you think they're getting for an RSL gig? 300 people paying, $30 a head?
Look, you're probably getting
10 grand?
20, probably 20.
20. Oh, that's a lot. It's more than...
Because the RSL clubs, they still have a bit of money because they're trying to get people there to gamble. So it's not like a regular venue.
Responsibly.
Yeah. Well, no, they don't want them. They might say that. There might be posters that say that, but they absolutely do not want them to gamble responsibly. They want them to be lured in by the appeal of 3 of the original members of 5 and then spend the rest of the night like filling up the pokies. That is actually what they want.
Well, maybe that's there's got to be a...
maybe I should put some pokies in at home. We can put a few pokies in the garage and then we can start doing concerts in the driveway.
Well, I guess maybe I'm putting too much onus on the TOFOP audience to raise funds.
No. I think it's just about us going to see 5. We need to see 5. We don't need to see 5 in our environment. We need to see 5 in their environment. We need to see who else is like us there. Is it just old fans of 5 who followed them? Or are there people like you, Charlie, who didn't get into 5 the first time around necessarily, but have rediscovered a real love and passion for 5? Like, it might turn out it's just a bunch of like middle-aged men.
What do you think would be required for 5 to let me do the J rap and everybody get up? Like, how do we make that happen? I'll be the resident president. I'm the 5th element. Jimmy Fly, Snooker, Stone Cold's how I'm hitting them. Do you think they would what would it take for them to go, yeah, we'll let this guy come up and do a Jay verse?
Is the guy who does that verse still in the band, or is he one of the guys who's
No,
left?
Jay. That's what I'm saying. It's the Jay verse. Jay's, we don't know where Jay is.
Okay.
Is Jay okay? Hashtag is Jay okay?
You know what? Are you okay, J Day? So...
To see the full video, join our Patreon.
Patreon.com/TOFOP.